Welcome to 21st Century Dating Decoded. We're making modern love simple. Get ready to decode your love life. Brought to you by Mingle.
Imagine this, you are paying like $5,000 a year just for homeowners insurance alone.
Right, which is just massive.
Oh, it's huge. And so you step barefoot out onto your very expensive, highly chemically treated lawn to enjoy a quiet evening, and you are just immediately eaten alive by fire ants.
Oh yeah, the fire ants down there do not mess around at all.
They really don't. So you retreat inside your air-conditioned fortress, you pull out your phone, open a dating app, and you realize that the person you just spent like a week's worth of grocery money buying drinks for, they are permanently moving to Germany next Tuesday.
That is the classic trap, yeah.
It is. Welcome to Dating in the Florida Panhandle. I'm Alice.
And I'm Zach.
And this is not your standard, romanticized version of courtship.
No, absolutely not.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? The cinematic ideal, where you sit across from a total stranger in a dimly lit bar, the conversation just flows effortlessly, and there is this instant spark.
Right, the movie version of dating.
Exactly. But in reality, modern dating for most of you listening right now feels like being trapped in a really bad romantic version of Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's just this endless loop.
It really is. You swipe, you engage in the exact same recycled small talk about, your commute or your siblings. You go grab an overpriced cocktail, you feel absolutely nothing. You go home and you just reset the loop.
It's profoundly exhausting to do that over and over.
So exhausting. But welcome to our deep dive into the 21st Century Dating Decoded source material, because today we are permanently breaking that loop for you.
We really are. We are leaving the stuffy rooftop lounges and those endless, highly curated text threads entirely behind us today.
Yes, goodbye to all of that.
Because today, our focus is squarely on the Gulf Coast, the legendary Redneck Riviera.
Such a great nickname.
It is. And we are analyzing this uniquely chaotic, sun-soaked, and geographically volatile dating pool to figure out how ditching these high-maintenance expectations for, genuine, authentic connection can completely reboot your romantic algorithm.
And if you are sitting there right now listening to this and you are ready to just hit that reboot button immediately, I am giving you the ultimate escape hatch right at the top of the show.
Ooh, this is the big one.
It is. Grab your phone, pull up your calendar right now. On Sunday, August 9th, you absolutely need to be at the Slick Talk Speed Mingle.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it is happening at Slick Lips, Seafood, and Oyster House. And this is basically your perfect opportunity to bypass all that digital noise, skip the algorithms entirely, and actually meet real vetted people face to face.
Which is so rare these days.
It is. You can lock in your spot right now at thespeedmingle.com/big events, licktalk-speed-mingle. So consider this your immediate actionable game plan for everything we are about to unpack over the next hour or so.
It is a highly strategic move for anyone listening, and strategy is exactly what we are dissecting today.
Gotcha.
Because to truly understand the psychological and the geographical landscape of this specific dating market, we had to pull together a massive, highly contradictory stack of sources.
Oh, they were so contradictory. It was wild to read.
Right. We're looking at real estate guides that paint this glossy, hyper-romanticized picture of the coastal lifestyle.
The dream version.
Exactly. And we are contrasting those with these brutally honest YouTube rants about the harsh physical realities of actually living in the Panhandle.
Which are terrifying, honestly.
They really are. Plus, we've skirted Reddit threads that are just overflowing with localized dating horror stories, pulled financial hardship reports detailing the economic strain of the area, and even analyzed local event calendars.
Just to map out where organic connection actually happens down there.
Right. We are synthesizing all of this to give you a comprehensive, actionable roadmap to dating on the Gulf Coast.
Okay, well, let's start by unpacking this environment, because you really cannot isolate the dating scene from the geography here.
No, the two are completely linked.
They are. Before you can even think about finding a partner in the Panhandle, you have to understand the absolute pressure cooker of living there.
Yeah, pressure cooker is the right word.
It is an environmental and psychological extreme, and it shapes every single human interaction you have.
It absolutely does. The environment dictates the behavior.
Yeah.
And our sources present two wildly conflicting narratives about what it actually means to exist in this specific geography.
So let's start with the dream, right? The romanticized version.
Right, which is primarily championed by the Movoto real estate perspective. This is the narrative that is actively selling the condos.
And let's be honest, the dream they are selling is incredibly seductive. If you read this material, they paint a picture of a perpetual sun-drenched vacation.
Oh, yeah. Thousands of miles of pristine coastline.
Yeah, places like Grayton Beach, St. Joseph Peninsula, St. Andrews, and they make a huge point about the sand down there.
Right, because it's not just normal dirt or sand.
No, it is crushed quartz. It's sugar white. They pitch the entire region as this endless, idyllic playground for water sports.
So the vision they are putting in your head is that you and your date are casually paddleboarding at sunset.
Right, and you're scuba diving on the weekends, exploring these rare coastal dune lakes, and spotting sea turtles and black bears in your free time.
It sounds like an Instagram influencer's absolute paradise.
It does. It's curated perfection.
They even float this fascinating fountain of youth theory, which I found incredibly amusing from a biological standpoint.
Oh my gosh, yes. This was so funny.
Right. The Movoto guide actually suggests that the intense heat and the oppressive high humidity of the Florida Panhandle make the locals age better.
I couldn't believe they wrote that.
The underlying logic they use is that the constant moisture in the air essentially keeps your skin plump, hydrated, and youthful.
Okay, I really have to pause on that because, sweating as an anti-aging strategy?
That's essentially what they're saying.
Part of me wants to sign up, sure, but part of me knows exactly what it feels like to step outside in Florida in August.
It is not a spa day.
No. It's not a gentle mist. It is a literal sauna. But before we get to the harsh reality of that, Movoto does highlight a really interesting cultural divide that anyone moving here has to navigate.
Yeah, the split personality of the coast.
Exactly. You have the Emerald Coast, which is incredibly fast-paced, very tourist-heavy, high energy, and super commercial.
Very built up.
Right. And then, just a bit further down, you have the Forgotten Coast, which is remote, fiercely laid back, intentionally quiet, and largely untouched by massive development.
And that geographical split raises a really profound question for anyone trying to build a relationship here. The source actually explicitly asks, are you Forgotten Coast or Emerald Coast?
Because it defines your entire lifestyle.
It defines your daily pacing. And if we connect this to the broader psychology of dating, you really have to wonder how compatibility works across that divide.
Does the old cliche hold up, right?
Exactly. Two opposites attract in this scenario. Is the ultimate panhandle power couple, an intense, ambitious Emerald Coast hustler paired with a grounded, laid-back Forgotten Coast local?
See, I love that dynamic. That is totally the rom-com I want to watch.
The high-strung developer and the quiet paddleboard instructor.
Yes, it forces a balance. But we do have to snap out of the fairy tale now.
Unfortunately, yes.
Because if Movoto is the rom-com, the YouTube channel Emerald Coast Unfiltered is the gritty documentary.
Very gritty.
They bring this brutally honest dose of reality that just completely shatters that glossy real estate brochure dream.
Yes. They refer to living there as an atmospheric assault.
Such a dramatic phrase, but it fits.
It really does. Let's look at the reality of that fountain of youth humidity.
Yeah.
What they point out is that between the months of May and October, you can essentially chew on the air.
Ew, but
The heat index is so severe that it actively alters your daily behavior. You are no longer taking romantic sunset strolls.
No, you are frantically sprinting from an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned building just to survive the afternoon without sweating completely through your clothes.
Right. And they literally talked about the maintenance of this environment too. Like, if you don't power wash your house annually, it grows a literal green wall of slime.
Yeah, the algae and mold.
The humidity just breeds mold on everything. There is absolutely nothing romantic about spending your entire Saturday scraping green fuzz off your vinyl siding.
No, definitely not.
And remember that beautiful sugar white sand we just talked about? The crushed quartz?
The hallmark of the Panhandle beaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Emerald Coast Unfiltered refers to the entire region as a giant sandbox because that quartz has absolutely zero nutritional value for plant life.
None at all.
So growing that beautiful, luscious green lawn that everyone associates with the American dream, it is practically a myth down there.
You have to force it to grow.
Yeah, you have to pump the ground full of incredibly expensive chemicals, fertilizers, and constant irrigation just to keep the grass alive. And here is the kicker with that.
Oh, tell them.
The second you step barefoot onto that incredibly expensive, chemically sustained grass to enjoy a romantic evening with your partner, you are immediately eaten alive by fire ants.
It's just a nightmare.
Or you're dealing with the constant creeping threat of Formosan termites literally devouring the structural wood of your house. The creepy crawlies down there are fiercely territorial.
They do not care about your date night.
Not at all. And what is genuinely fascinating here is how this environmental hostility compounds into a massive financial and psychological weight.
Right, the hidden costs.
The hidden costs of maintaining this paradise are staggering, and financial stress is one of the leading killers of early-stage relationships.
It really is.
We're talking about homeowners insurance premiums currently ranging from $2,000 to $5,000 annually, and the hurricane deductibles are sitting between 2 and 5% of the home's total value.
Okay, let's actually pause and do that math for a second, because when I read that in the sources, my jaw literally dropped.
It's eye-opening.
Think about what that actually means for your bank account. If you own a $500,000 home, which isn't even a mansion down there anymore, and you have a 5% deductible, and a Category 4 hurricane comes through and takes off your roof.
Which happens frequently.
Yeah. You are paying $25,000 completely out of pocket before the insurance company even picks up the phone to help you.
Just gone.
$25,000 in liquid cash, poof, gone.
Exactly. Plus, you have to factor in another $1,500 to $2,500 annually for mandatory flood insurance.
It's just endless.
And that financial sword of Damocles brings us to the psychological toll. When you live in the Panhandle, you are living in what meteorologists call the cone of uncertainty for 6 solid months out of the year.
Half the year.
From June to November, you are essentially playing a game of Russian roulette with catastrophic weather events. Every single time a tropical depression forms off the coast of Africa, your baseline anxiety just spikes.
Okay, but I want to challenge you on this because I see a totally different angle here.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're talking about this high-stress, high-anxiety environment, but what does this all actually mean for dating? Doesn't extreme shared trauma actually accelerate romantic bonding?
That's an interesting theory.
Think about it. Imagine you've only been dating someone for, say, 5 weeks. You're still in that phase where you are actively trying to impress each other.
The honeymoon phase.
Right. And suddenly, a Category 5 hurricane is barreling toward the coast. You make the call to evacuate together. You are trapped in a car, creeping along the completely gridlocked arteries of Highway 85 and Highway 98 for like 12 hours.
Oh, the traffic is legendary.
Is hurricane prep and evacuation the ultimate relationship test? If you can survive a 12-hour traffic jam with a new partner, running on 0 sleep, eating stale gas station snacks, while literally fleeing a natural disaster, doesn't that fundamentally fast-track intimacy?
That is a phenomenal point, actually, and it speaks to the biology of human connection.
Right.
When you are thrust into a survival situation like that, cortisol and adrenaline spike, but more importantly, all of the superficiality is stripped away instantly.
You can't fake it.
You can't. You are no longer worrying about what Instagram filter to use on your brunch photo or whether you said the perfectly witty thing at dinner. You are actively evaluating this person's core competencies.
Yes, like, are they reliable when the power grid fails?
Exactly. Can they remain calm when the hotels are completely booked out and you only have a quarter tank of gas left?
Are they a partner in a crisis, or are they a liability?
It forces a level of raw authenticity and vulnerability that you simply cannot simulate during a standard 2-hour dinner date. The environment acts as an incredible accelerant for truth.
It really does. It's like a trial by fire, or I guess in this case, a trial by Category 5 wins.
True.
So we have established this baseline. The Panhandle is a high-stress, high-humidity, financially intense environment.
Very intense.
Now, I want you to think about what happens when you drop modern, algorithm-driven online dating apps into that exact environment.
It's a disaster.
What you get is what I can only describe as trying to build a sandcastle out of crushed quartz while the tide is coming in.
That is a great visual.
You were put in all this emotional effort, but the foundation just keeps washing away.
That is a much more accurate metaphor. The friction generated by trying to use traditional apps in this specific geography is immense.
Oh, it's so bad.
When we analyze the sentiment on the Reddit threads from the Pensacola and Destin subreddits, the frustration isn't just mild annoyance. It is palpable exhaustion.
People are just tired.
They are. And the primary structural issue they face is what we can call the military and transient trap. The Panhandle is geographically surrounded by 5 major military bases,
which creates this massive, never-ending game of romantic musical chairs.
It really does.
You read these heartbreaking posts from locals. Someone finally matches with a great person. They have incredible chemistry. They go on 3 amazing dates. They start letting their guard down. They start picturing a real future. And then on date 4, the person drops the bomb. They're like, oh, by the way, I'm PCSing permanent change of station to Germany in 2 months.
Yeah, the relationship has an absolute expiration date before it even really begins.
You are investing emotional capital into a ghost.
Or worse, you are dealing with profound demographic distortion. The localized complaints highlight a dating pool that is fractured into three highly problematic segments for anyone seeking a long-term relationship.
Okay, break those down.
First, you have the massive influx of tourists on vacation. They're entirely transient and generally only looking for a 3-day fling.
Right, spring breakers and vacationers.
Second, you have the military personnel we just discussed who are highly mobile and leaving soon.
Also transient.
Exactly. And third, you have the locals. But the issue with the locals is that the ones who were born there, raised there, and chose to stay are almost entirely married by their late 20s.
Wow, so the pool is just tiny.
So if you are a 30-something, ambitious, single professional looking for a long-term commitment, finding a match becomes a statistical nightmare. The algorithm simply doesn't have the inventory.
Perfectly illustrated by the Reddit horror stories we comb through. I mean, these are real experiences people posted about.
Oh, some of them are rough.
There was one user who talked about having great, witty banter going with someone on an app. They agree to meet up. The woman drives 2 hours across the panhandle to meet him.
2 hours is a long drive for a first date.
It is. She shows up, and she is at least 100 pounds heavier than her heavily filtered profile photos.
It's a total blatant catfish situation.
But here's the agonizing part, right? Because she drove 2 hours and it's late, she ends up staying the night on his couch just to avoid driving back across those dark coastal highways.
That sounds incredibly uncomfortable.
There is zero romance. It is just sheer, excruciatingly awkward proximity brought on by a geographic, logistical nightmare.
The deception on these platforms is rampant because the environment encourages a churn and burn mentality.
Absolutely.
Another user recounted matching with a seemingly wonderful, highly engaging woman. They spend 4 days talking constantly, building a real emotional rapport.
Getting invested.
Right. Only to discover, purely by accident, that she currently lives in a camper with 4 children from 3 different fathers and essentially has absolutely zero free time or resources to actually date.
Oh, wow.
Now, I point this out not to judge her living situation at all, but to highlight a profound level of economic and social struggle in the area that the sleek interfaces of these apps completely mask.
You don't see any of that until you are already emotionally invested.
Exactly. The apps present everyone on an equal, glossy playing field, which fundamentally misrepresents the reality of their daily lives.
And speaking of misrepresentation, we cannot ignore the incredibly pervasive upside-down pineapple community.
This was everywhere in the sources.
It came up in so many different Reddit warnings. For anyone listening who doesn't know, and consider this a crucial public service announcement, an upside-down pineapple displayed on a porch, on a car bumper, or even just sitting in a grocery shopping cart down there.
It is the universal, unspoken symbol for swingers.
It is. People are getting on these mainstream dating apps, earnestly looking for a traditional monogamous relationship, and they are accidentally stumbling into married couples looking for a third.
It's just chaotic.
It is chaotic. You think you are going on a coffee date, and suddenly you're being interviewed for a polyamorous arrangement.
Which brings us to perhaps the most crucial underlying factor of this entire digital failure: the financial barrier to romance.
This is huge.
If we synthesize the intense frustration found on Reddit with the macroeconomic data from the ALICE report, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed, we see a glaring, undeniable economic reality.
Yeah, the numbers are stark.
The report notes that 68% of the country is currently living paycheck to paycheck. They are employed, but they are asset limited.
Right. So I want you to think about your own budget for a second. When you combine that 68% paycheck to paycheck reality with the soaring, inescapable costs of panhandle living, the $5,000 insurance premiums, the power washing, the flood policies, the chemical lawn treatments, traditional app dating becomes a completely unsustainable financial gamble.
It really is a gamble.
You swipe on someone based on 3 photos. You agree to meet for dinner and drinks at a decent spot. By the end of the night, you have spent a week's worth of grocery money on a complete stranger.
A stranger who might be moving.
Right. They might be moving to another state next month, or they might have completely misrepresented themselves online, or they might be looking for a third for their marriage.
It is objectively a terrible return on investment. I look at it this way. Relying on dating apps in the panhandle is exactly like trying to find a parking spot at a mediocre, overpriced seafood restaurant during peak tourist season in mid-July.
Okay, the parking lot analogy makes sense on the surface, but let's dig into that. What happens when you finally get out of the car? Does the food even taste good at that point?
That is exactly the point. You are circling the lot endlessly. You are fighting with thousands of out-of-towners who don't know the rules of the road.
Getting so frustrated.
You are wasting expensive gas, your blood pressure is rising, and you are getting increasingly desperate. And even if you do manage to finally secure a spot, you walk inside, you wait 3 hours for a table, and you are served an overpriced, completely underwhelming meal that leaves you feeling exhausted and regretful.
Wow, yeah.
The victory of getting the date is entirely hollowed out by the friction it took to get there. The digital apps are just making you circle the parking lot forever.
You are exhausted before the date even begins. So let's pivot.
We need to.
Because if the digital world is a dead end, if you are just building sandcastles out of crushed quartz, where are you supposed to go? How do you bypass these digital gatekeepers and meet people organically in the wild without going bankrupt or getting catfished?
This is the essential pivot from passive algorithmic scrolling to active, intentional, community-based engagement.
Right.
If the apps are failing to provide context, you have to find environments that naturally provide it. Our sources point to several highly effective avenues for this on the Gulf Coast, starting with professional and community organizations.
Okay, let's talk about the Pensacola Young Professionals. When I first saw this on the list, I thought, ugh, a networking group? Standing around in a sterile hotel conference room handing out business cards and pretending to laugh at bad jokes?
The typical corporate mixer vibe?
Exactly. But that's not what this is at all. They host these events called Service Saturdays. Instead of drinking cheap wine, you go out with a group of locals and you do beach cleanups.
Which is very needed down there.
Or you prepare meals at a shelter. Or you sort donations for a local charity.
It is an incredibly smart strategy for relationship building. The organization explicitly states that these events are solicit-free.
No sales pitches.
You are highly encouraged to leave the heavy business sales pitch at home. But think about the psychology of this environment. When you are standing next to someone, physically picking up debris from a beach in the hot sun, the conversation flows naturally.
It gives you something to do with your hands.
Exactly. There are no awkward pauses where you are trying to think of an interview question. More importantly, you are evaluating their character based on their actions, not a heavily filtered profile picture.
Are they complaining about the heat? Are they working hard?
Are they kind to the organizers? You learn more about a person in 2 hours of shared labor than you do in 2 months of texting.
Exactly. Shared action builds trust faster than anything else. It triggers dopamine and oxytocin because you are accomplishing a goal together. It is a completely low-pressure environment.
Very low pressure.
And if you are looking for slightly more traditional networking, but still want to avoid the apps, the Gulf Breeze Area Chamber of Commerce has a really structured approach.
What do?
They host these Rise and Shine breakfasts at 7:30 a.m. at St. Anne's Catholic Parish, or they do a Networking's a Breeze luncheon at the Hampton Inn, which specifically features curated icebreaker activities. But if you show up to a 7:30 a.m. community breakfast, you are guaranteed to meet locals who are rooted, invested in the community, and most importantly, actually sticking around. They aren't PCSing to Germany next month.
That's a great filter. Moving beyond professional networking, we have to look at the concept of sweat equity.
Oh, I like that phrase.
We talked about survival bonding during a hurricane, but you can simulate that biological bonding through shared physical exertion.
Okay, how?
Well, the Gulf Breeze Parks and Recreation Department offers a massive array of adult sports leagues. We're talking tennis, pickleball, adult beach volleyball, and sunset disc golf.
And here is where it gets absolutely brilliant. Let's look at the Fleet Feet Inlet Beach Run Group. They meet up, they go for a run, they get those endorphins and adrenaline pumping.
A runner's high.
Right. And where does the run end? They end up at the Idle Hounds Brewing Company.
That's perfect.
It is the perfect seamless transition. You blend health, fitness, and casual socializing over a beer. Because you just ran 3 miles together, the ice is entirely broken.
You already share a hobby.
Exactly. You aren't sitting across a table wondering if you have anything in common. You are high-fiving over a shared physical accomplishment.
If we expand our scope slightly to cultural and historical events, the Panhandle offers some incredibly unique, high-character opportunities that serve as excellent filtering mechanisms.
Oh, the festivals.
Take the Florida Seafood Festival in Apalachicola, which is held at Battery Park. It is the oldest maritime event in the country.
Okay, I have to talk about the oyster shucking contest there.
It's iconic.
It is. Imagine, instead of sending a text that says, hey, want to grab coffee sometime? You say, hey, I'm going to the Florida Seafood Festival this weekend. Let's go watch the blue crab races and enter the 5K redfish run.
That is a wildly better pitch.
That is hilarious. It is memorable. And fundamentally, it immediately filters out anyone who takes themselves too seriously. If someone is willing to stand in a crowd and cheer on a crab with you, that is a massive green flag for their personality.
It demonstrates a sense of adventure and a willingness to embrace the local culture, which is vital for long-term compatibility down here.
So true.
Similarly, you can lean into the deep, often overlooked history of the area. Recently, archaeologists from the University of West Florida made a massive discovery. They found the lost 1559 Tristan de Luna Spanish settlement.
I read about that. It predates St. Augustine.
It does.
Yeah.
So how do you weaponize that for your dating life?
Yeah.
You create a DIY historical walking tour.
I love this idea.
You grab a thermos of coffee, you invite someone out, you walk the waterfront, and you totally nerd out about 16th century Spanish galleons and colonial survival.
It's so creative.
Think about what this accomplishes. First, it costs absolutely $0, which completely circumvents that Alice paycheck-to-paycheck problem we talked about.
Very smart.
Second, it proves that you are creative, intellectually curious, and capable of holding an engaging conversation without relying on alcohol or a loud bar to do the heavy lifting. It sparks intellectual stimulation.
And for those seeking highly specific niche interests, the meetup groups in this region are incredibly diverse.
There's something for everyone.
There really is. The infrastructure for organic connection totally exists. You have groups like Sunset Yoga by the Sea, you have the White Tie Southern Rock Appreciation Group, you have Pickle Fest, and you have casual hangout spots like Time Out Sports Grill up in Jacksonville for those willing to take a bit of a road trip.
The community is there. It just requires a deliberate decision to step out of the digital bubble and into physical spaces.
But let's be real for a second. Organic serendipity is beautiful. But sometimes you don't want to wait for the universe to magically bump you into your soulmate while you are picking up trash at a beach cleanup.
No, sometimes you want results faster.
Exactly. Sometimes you need efficiency. You are busy, you work 40+ hours a week, and you want intentionality. And that brings us to the highly intentional dating formats that are designed to literally cut through the noise and deliver results.
The local single scene has definitely recognized this need for structure and efficiency. For instance, look at the Pensacola 40+ Singles and Friends group.
They meet at Restaurant Nola, right?
They do. They meet monthly. The structure is brilliant in its simplicity.
Yeah.
A $20 entry fee gets you in the door and gets you an appetizer or a drink. But you aren't just left to awkwardly mingle.
Thank goodness.
They facilitate human bingo and rapid-fire icebreakers.
And I absolutely love that they have tiered memberships. If you become a Coastal VIP or join their inner circle, you get access to party buses and actual relationship coaching.
That was a very comprehensive approach.
It's treating dating like a holistic community experience, not a solitary, shameful swiping punishment that you do alone in your bedroom.
That's a great way to frame it.
And for the younger or more casual crowd, there's the Single Mingle on Tuesdays at Neon's Bar 72 in Bay Point. The first drink is free. The vibe is incredibly relaxed. It's just an open invitation to just show up, be present, and be available.
Which serves as the perfect conceptual bridge to deconstructing the broader speed mingle philosophy. If you read their literature, they use a very specific financial-adjacent lexicon to describe human connection.
Oh, I noticed that.
They describe dating as building a relational portfolio, which is composed of different asset classes.
Okay, I have to push back hard on this. I really do.
I figured you might.
Relational portfolio. Asset classes. Zach, doesn't this sound incredibly clinical? Like we are day trading romance on Wall Street.
It does sound a bit dry at first.
I just feel like applying financial terminology to human connection completely kills the magic and serendipity of falling in love. It sounds like a corporate merger, not a romance.
I understand the resistance, Alice. It absolutely sounds clinical at first glance, but I want to argue that it is actually a profound, highly necessary defense mechanism for both your mental health and your wallet.
Okay, how so?
Let's look at the emotional mathematics here. If you put 100% of your emotional capital into the single high-risk gamble of dating apps, which we have thoroughly established is a localized dumpster fire full of transient military personnel, swingers, and catfishes, you will inevitably go emotionally bankrupt.
That's true.
You will experience the sunk cost fallacy, where you keep swiping because you've already invested so much time, even though the returns are zero.
Okay, look at your phone right now, listeners. Ask yourself, how many hours a week are you spending swiping in your air-conditioned living room, just hoping the algorithm spits out a miracle?
Usually a lot of hours.
Are you overinvested in that one specific asset class?
Exactly. Treating it like a portfolio is about risk management. Diversifying your approach minimizes that risk of burnout.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
If one avenue fails, your entire dating life doesn't collapse because you have investments elsewhere. To facilitate this, Speed Mingle offers 6 distinct modalities, or asset classes, to achieve this necessary diversification. I'll walk you through how they structure this.
All right, I'm listening. Sell me on the modalities.
First is Anywhere. This is face-to-face video dating from the comfort of your own home.
So like Zoom dating.
Basically, it solves a massive logistical problem. You don't have to put on formal clothes. You don't have to drive in traffic. You don't have to buy a $15 cocktail.
All big wins.
And, crucially, within 30 seconds, you immediately verify that the person actually matches their profile photos. The catfish problem is instantly solved before you spend a dime.
Okay, I see the utility in that. It's a screener.
Precisely. Second is social. These are informal, non-hosted gatherings at local venues.
Like bars or coffee shops.
Like a great local brewery. It relies on the venue's existing atmosphere to facilitate spontaneous connections without the rigid structure of a formal event. That's for people who want organic interaction but need a designated space for it.
Third, and I will admit this one is my favorite when I read the source material, happenings.
It's a clever concept.
These are curated, activity-based events. You are doing something physical or creative together. It completely removes the pressure of that agonizing, awkward small talk.
Because you're focused on the task.
Exactly. You aren't staring at each other across a dimly lit table trying to think of clever interview questions. You are engaged in a shared task. The focus is on the activity, which allows your true personality to bleed through naturally.
The fourth modality is highly innovative. Neighbors. This targets a modern urban plague that sociologists call the elevator nod.
I do that all the time. Just a quick nod and look away.
We all live mere inches away from people in apartment buildings or neighborhoods, yet we barely know their names. This modality curates high-energy events, specifically to bring building or neighborhood residents together.
Just to meet each other.
Yes. And crucially, romance is not required. It's about building a foundational platonic community. Because organically, a strong platonic network leads to better professional networking and natural romantic introductions.
Oh, that makes sense. You meet your neighbor, and 6 months later, your neighbor introduces you to their single coworker.
Exactly. It's expanding your web.
I like that. What's number 5?
5 is B2B, business to business.
Yeah.
This is specifically tailored for highly ambitious professionals who absolutely hate sluggish, unproductive mixers.
So it's faster.
It is a high-octane, round-robin networking format. You cut out the unproductive small talk, you pitch who you are and what you do, and you rapidly expand your professional and social circle in an hour.
And the final one?
The 6th modality, which is launching in summer 2026, is one-to-one. This is their premium tier.
The VIP treatment.
Right. It features pre-vetted, low-pressure, personalized meetings based on deep foundational compatibility metrics. It is the ultimate time-saving asset class for the highly intentional dater who wants the screening process handled for them.
Okay, you've convinced me. The portfolio approach isn't unromantic, it's just smart resource allocation.
It really is.
So let's play this out. Let's say you diversify your portfolio, you attend a happening, or you meet someone absolutely incredible at the Slick Lips Speed Mingle on Sunday.
A great first step.
You've bypassed the apps, you've established a real, authentic connection, and you both want to explore it further. Now what?
Now you have to plan the date.
Right. Where do you take them to actually seal the deal? We are moving out of the sandbox and into the high-end romance of the Redneck Riviera.
When it is time to elevate the experience and signal serious intent, Panama City Beach offers a surprisingly sophisticated culinary landscape.
It really does.
Our sources outline the top 5 romantic spots, and what is critical to understand here is that each venue offers a distinct environmental narrative that psychologically impacts the date.
The undisputed gold standard on this list is Saltwater Grill.
Oh, absolutely.
When you walk in the door, you are immediately hit by this ethereal blue glow emanating from a 25,000-gallon tropical saltwater aquarium that spans the entire dining room.
It is visually stunning.
It is literally an underwater oasis. They have a live piano bar playing sophisticated melodies in the background, and they are serving up USDA prime steaks and Gulf-to-table seafood.
But we have to look at why this works. Psychologically, that ethereal blue light from the aquarium actively lowers cortisol levels. It slows your heart rate.
It's calming.
Very. The gentle, continuous movement of the tropical fish provides a natural conversational buffer. If there's a lull in the dialogue, it doesn't feel awkward. It feels contemplative.
That's a great point. You can just look at the fish together.
The logistics here are crucial, though. If you want one of those coveted aquarium-side tables, you have to book well in advance. It represents the pinnacle of atmospheric dining. They even host a legendary New Year's Eve Gatsby party.
Which channels that high-energy, roaring 20s vulnerability.
Exactly.
But maybe you don't want an aquatic vibe. Maybe your date prefers earth tones over ocean blues. That's where Firefly comes in.
Firefly is fantastic.
They have this massive, ancient-looking oak tree right in the center of the main dining room, absolutely covered in twinkling fairy lights. It feels like a secret Mediterranean courtyard.
The psychology of Firefly is rooted in evolutionary comfort. Humans are biologically wired to feel safe in enclosed, natural spaces with soft, dappled lighting.
Like being under a canopy.
Right. The fairy lights mimic twilight, which triggers our circadian rhythms to relax and open up emotionally. It feels incredibly intimate. And from a culinary standpoint, their she crab soup is legendary in the region.
For those whose definition of romance is strictly tied to the horizon line, there is the Grand Marlin.
The marina views.
It is situated right on Grand Lagoon, offering massive panoramic sunset views. The ideal scenario painted by the sources is sitting on their second-floor deck, watching the boats return to the harbor at dusk, splitting a half-dozen oysters, and drinking a crisp glass of Sauvignon Blanc.
The Grand Marlin leverages the psychology of expanse. Looking out over a vast body of water encourages big-picture thinking and vulnerability. It's an upscale maritime atmosphere that makes you feel like you are part of something larger.
It really opens up the conversation.
Now, if you want to get away from the heavy tourist crowds and tap into nostalgia, you go to Captain's Table in historic St. Andrews.
Yes, Captain's Table. It represents old Florida charm. It is quiet, it is intimate, and the pacing is intentionally slow.
They are rushing you.
No, it isn't trying to rush you out the door to turn the table. And the neighborhood itself is perfect for a moonlit stroll on the bay after dinner, which allows the date to organically transition from a seated meal to a walking conversation.
And finally, the quintessential tropical experience. Runaway Island. It is barefoot, beachfront romance.
Literally on the sand.
They have two massive decks, a wooden boardwalk that leads straight out to the sand, coconut shrimp, and the constant rhythmic sound of the Gulf of Mexico crashing against the shore.
Think about what a barefoot date does. It literally and figuratively breaks down the physical barriers and stiff formalities of a first date.
It grounds you.
You take your shoes off, you feel the sand, you instantly relax. And we cannot forget about the surrounding areas outside of TCB. If you want a full weekend escape to really test the connection, you head down Highway 30A.
Beautiful area.
The Corcoran Reverie Real Estate Guide highlights incredible date night spots along that stretch. Plus, they host the 30A Songwriters Festival, which brings in 250 different musical performers.
That is a phenomenal venue for a date. Taking someone to hear live, intimate acoustic songwriting is a massive green flag.
It shows you appreciate art.
And songwriting is inherently vulnerable, and listening to it together encourages shared emotional resonance.
It absolutely does. You connect through the music.
If we pull back and look at this entire Panhandle ecosystem, from the intense, oppressive summer humidity and the terrifying hurricane deductibles, to the transient military populations, all the way up to the 25,000-gallon aquariums and barefoot beachfront dinners, it leads to a fascinating, overarching conclusion.
Let's hear it.
I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to seriously mull over tonight. Geography isn't just a passive, pretty backdrop for your dates. It actively shapes who you are allowed to become in a relationship.
I want you to say that again because that is the core of this entire deep dive.
Geography actively shapes who you are allowed to become in a relationship. Think about the unique compounding pressures of the Florida Panhandle.
It's a lot of pressure.
The ever-present 6-month threat of catastrophic hurricanes, the constant, inevitable churn of the transient military population, the intense, almost aggressive summer heat that forces you indoors.
It all adds up.
All of this environmental, demographic, and financial stress acts as a crucible. It strips away the superficiality of modern dating.
You just can't hide who you are.
It forces people to show their true colors, their financial resilience, and their emotional capacity for partnership far faster than they might in a comfortable, temperate, static city. The inherent friction of this environment demands an authentic connection, or the relationship simply shatters under the pressure.
Wow. It really is a crucible. If you can survive the fire ants, the blistering heat, the financial stress of property insurance, and the Category 5 evacuations together, you can survive absolutely anything.
Exactly.
The panhandle doesn't let you fake it for very long. So, listener, don't get left behind in the dating dark ages, endlessly swiping in a sandbox. A successful relational portfolio is always predicated upon intentionality and genuine real-world connection.
Remember the tools and concepts available to you. The speed mingle modalities are precisely designed to minimize your emotional risk and maximize your high-quality opportunities.
It's a 6-asset class.
Happenings, neighbors, B2B, and one-to-one. These are the asset classes that move you beyond endless, exhausting text threads and into substantive, real-world relationships that can actually withstand the pressure of the coast.
And here are your immediate action items to put all of this into practice today. First, make sure you subscribe and listen to 21st Century Dating Decoded across all your favorite platforms, whether that is Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or watching us visually on Speed Mingle TV on Roku and YouTube.
Definitely subscribe.
Second, you need to attend a Speed Mingle event in your area to start diversifying your portfolio. And I'm reminding you one last time, Sunday, August 9th at Slick Lips Seafood and Oyster House.
It's going to be packed.
The Slick Talk Speed Mingle is your perfect entry point. Do not miss it.
And finally, if there isn't an event near your specific location, take the initiative. Don't wait for the community to come to you.
Be proactive.
Contact Speed Mingle directly to become a host yourself or to offer up your local business as an event venue. You have the power to curate and control your own dating ecosystem.
Until next time, remember our motto.
Remain deliberate.
Maintain protection.
And consistently date with a defined purpose.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Speed Mingle Network.